Welcome back to Hellow Media. We are here today with Rechelle from Unitely, a coaching service within the employment sector for people with disabilities. We have lots of questions to ask her and hope to learn more about her organisation and what she does.
Why did you start Unitely and why?
So I started Unitely because I have been working in the disability support space, and I have also had a corporate career for the last 15 years before moving into the disability space. I really struggled in the workplace myself, and I came to realise that many of the people I worked with in my disability support work really struggled with employment as well. And so the more people that I spoke with, the more I realised that there was an opportunity to help people like me, like you, like all of us who live with chronic illness and disability and neurodiversity, to help them with employment and to help you live a happy life, because you spend 1/3 of your life at work, most people. That's crazy, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So it's pretty important that we're happy at work.
Well, your job.
The hard part of my job is trying to do everything. So I run my own business, which means I'm the accounts department, I'm the finance department, I'm the sales department, I'm the marketing department. I'm also the events person, the delivery driver. So that is very difficult. And at the moment, I can't afford to have any support. So doing all of those things makes it very hard.
Can you tell us the first time you supported someone in your role?
As I said earlier, I did start as a support worker. So when I started off as a support worker, I helped many different people in different capacities. I was part of an online network, so I would pick up a lot of different jobs. And one of those jobs was my friend Ben, who you guys got to interview last week. So he was actually one of my first support people. I have been working with him ever since, so that's been about 1.5 years now.
What challenges did you face at work?
I ignored a lot of the challenges that I faced at work at the beginning because, like so many of us, we spend our lives wanting to just be normal. So what that meant is I put my career before my health. I did that for around 15 years until I got very, very sick. And so what that meant is I let my blood sugars run high. I'm a type 1 diabetic, because it was easier to let them do that than to have them drop in a meeting, like right before you're doing a presentation. Now, if I really cared about myself, sometimes my blood sugars would drop and I didn't have time to do that. So I let my blood sugars run high, and then I made myself quite sick. But at work, it was very hard. I struggled because people didn't understand my condition. I didn't know how to have conversations with my leaders when I was struggling. I also was undiagnosed with ADHD as well. And if you go undiagnosed with ADHD, it can be a real minefield, and it's very hard for mental health. So it made work very hard for me because unless things were happening really, really fast and quickly, I found it difficult to organise myself and stay in control of things. Even though I became very, very senior in my career, I think internally I struggled a lot. So I want to stop other people from having that internal struggle and facing the discrimination that I did.
Rechelle, what other things do you do when you're not at Unitely?
That keeps me very busy, but I also work as a support worker. I am just about to study a certificate 4 in mental health, and I'm starting that with RMIT very soon. And I've just been accepted onto a technology accelerator program to help me grow my business called Remarkable, which is focused on disability technology. So,
Pardon the pun, how remarkable.
very remarkable.
What tools do you define with support?
So the tools that I use to provide support are really dependent on what the individual's learning and accessibility needs are. I find it really important to make sure that people are learning in a way that supports them. So some people like doing work exercises in a workbook. Some people like learning by watching a video. Some people like texting to get support. So there's some of the ways that I adapt my learning, and then we use a whole bunch of different tools customized to each person. So we have an app that my clients can use if they like using technology, but if they don't, that's fine too.
Now, why I'm a favourite time?
In my spare time, I like to go to the gym. I'm very big on going to the gym. I do boxing and Pilates, and I like to stay active. And that's really important for me with all of my health conditions because it means that I can stay happy and healthy. And I spend a lot of time with my little dog. I have a little Moodle called Tigger. Do you like dogs?
I do, yep.
Yeah, I love my dog. He's been with me for 12 years. I take him for walks and we go around the park and go on adventures. So that's what I enjoy doing in my spare time.
What kind of skills and qualifications do you need to help you to become a support worker?
I think lived experience is not a skill or qualification that you can buy or pay for. However, it does come in handy. My brother actually lives with a physical and intellectual disabilities. That really prepared me for the work that I do in the disability sector more than any certificate or course could. But for anyone who's interested in studying, that's why I'm doing a mental health degree. There's community service degrees, etc., that you can do to help you in your support work or a disability support experience. But I always say to everyone, the best experience is work experience. So get out there, participate. Volunteering, that's another great thing for other people that don't have lived experience and want to learn how to do that.
So what is the percent of people with a chronic condition has got a disability?
It's a great question. So the number of people that have a chronic illness and then end up having a disability as a result is almost 1 in 2, so it's 40%. And the problem with that is that a lot of chronic conditions create things that are called comorbidities, which means that the more things that you have, the more likelihood you are to have more things happen to you. So I had started off with type 1 diabetes and asthma. I now have renal failure. I now have retinopathy, so that's issues with the back of my eyes. And I also have heart condition as well. So type 1 diabetes is also classified as a disability. So that happens, that's quite common for a lot of people.
Now, throughout your job, what would you consider the most difficult part of it?
That is a hard question because there is so much that I love about my job, but the two most difficult things I find are, one, when I first start working with people, is hearing the stigma and discrimination that they've experienced in their life and how much it's impacted them and their mental health. It's really quite confronting and makes me really sad, but then the good side of that is knowing that there's an opportunity to change that. And then the second thing is making everyday people that don't have disabilities or chronic illness or neurodiversity to understand the importance of why they should care about these things, because lots of people are very ignorant and still are, and it takes them to go through a health challenge themselves or to have a child or a sibling or someone that they know to really care about that. So that's the importance of why lived experience is so important to share.
Can you tell us, how do you advocate for people who need it?
Well, I think in my day-to-day role, I also co-host and produce a radio show with Ben Chu, who you guys have interviewed as well. And we run a community radio show every second and fourth Saturday of the month on 94.1, which is called Everyday People, where we spotlight people with disabilities and how to make different kind of places a bit more accessible and inclusive. I'm also working a little bit more in the media, and I also am currently writing a book, which I haven't pitched yet, but it's a really big piece that I'd like to do for advocacy. So,
can you tell us a bit about the Happy Hustle project?
The Happy Hustle was inspired by my own experience as someone that is really passionate about setting goals and achieving things in my life and doing something with my life. However, wanting to make sure that I'm not doing that at the cost of my health or my conditions. So that's the idea of being happy and hustle. So it's achieving your goals, but being happy while doing it, because if you're not happy on the journey, then there's no point getting to that destination, really.
Have you found employers open to adapting to the people you support?
Yeah, definitely. I think most employers are really interested in ways of supporting their own staff to empower themselves. The way that we work at Unitely is empowering the individual to then kind of go back and support themselves in the workplace. So it's not relying on the workplace to actually be doing all the work and the implementation. They obviously need to be open to it, but it actually puts the power in the individual. And so that method seems to work really well with workplaces because there's slight tweaks that they need to make to their existing practices without having to change them a huge amount. And so it really just empowers the employee to make the change on behalf of the workplace.
How do you best support someone who's stuck in that burnout cycle?
It's a very difficult thing to get someone out of that burnout cycle. Typically, people that I see have been in burnout multiple times over their career, and some of that career period they've not been working as a result of having that burnout. It's also more predisposed to women, so they're also, doing things like managing the kids at home and all of those things as well. So it does take a whole of life approach in terms of working out ways to make you feel better and support you when you're experiencing burnout, because it often isn't just work, and it's not just the household, it's a whole of life experience. So really what we do is work together. We do things, journaling, self-reflection, different activities to really uncover what areas of your life are making you feel this way and giving you practical tools and strategies to really kind of come out the other side and to prevent that happening in the future. So there's lots of mental health strategies around that and mindset strategies, because a lot of it is about how we feel about ourselves or how we think people are impacting us as well. So yeah, it's definitely not easy, but it is possible to get out of it.
Why are you at TikTok?
Yeah, so I started a TikTok a couple of weeks ago, and my mission for my TikTok is to educate more and more people about why it's so important to avoid workplace stigma and discrimination against people with disabilities, chronic illness and neurodiversity. And my attempt is to make it fun as well. So maybe a couple of TikTok dances will be in there. Maybe you'll join me one day.
Yeah, I will.
That was Rechelle from Unitely. Thank you for joining us. We hope you all learnt something new about Rechelle's organisation and what she does. Goodbye.